Ons eerste gas in die ateljee, ons praat met die hoof besigheidsontwikkeling van die Jasco Group en is Eckart Zollner. Ons gesels oor die Internet of Things. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the early morning, people.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
all
you.
the way from Joburg.
Yeah,
Eckart, it's a weird concept. Before we get to the Internet of Things, just tell us a bit about yourself, background, where you're from, what you do.
Look, I arrived in South Africa in 1982 from Germany a long time ago. Fell in love with the country, finished my schooling, studied electronic engineering, and from there on worked for a few companies, always in the ICT and telecommunications environment.
Never wanted to go back to Germany.
No.
Love the country.
Love the country.
That's a
Absolutely.
good thing.
Yeah.
So now the whole concept, the Internet of Things, it's weird. It sounds like a rock song. You know, it's like Blink 182 song, Internet of Things.
Yeah.
So just tell us, what is it about?
Yeah, it also gets muddled up a lot of times. You may have heard the term machine-to-machine communication, and there's the one leads into the other. Machine-to-machine communications we've had for well over 20 years, and that is essentially if my geezer from home sends me a message that the element is about to break and there's about to be problems, that's machine-to-machine communication. You know,
Okay.
The Internet of Things is really if machines communicate to platforms. But platforms communicate to other platforms, or machines communicate to other machines across various platforms. So if I take this further now, my geezer communicates and says the element is broken. It then sends a message to my plumbing services who says you better get to my house to fix the geyser. He does that, and automatically the fee for his services come off my bank account. You know, that's the Internet of Things,
So
really.
everything's linked.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, you could get a fridge, you know, and you scan everything that's inside. So your fridge knows all the food that's inside. So you get home, you press a button, it sees what's inside, and it gives you a recipe for the night. So you've got some minced meat, and you've got this. So that's basically, but now your whole house is connected.
The house is connected.
And your accounts.
Absolutely.
You think it's scaring people?
I think it might, but I think it brings a lot of benefits, you know, and I think different people are going to adopt it at different speeds. There's always some early technology adopters, and there are some conservative people who wait for their friends and family to try something out, tell them it works, and then adopt it, you know. So it's certainly starting to make a huge impact in our lives. You've seen the Apple Watch, you know, that's been hugely successful. So we're in the middle of adopting this technology in South Africa.
When one looks at the technology side of it, the maintenance to something like that, should something break, would you say that could be a kind of a nuisance?
You know, the Internet of Things is very much built on very robust networks, very robust technology, and that's where a lot of the development is coming in these days. So you're not only monitoring a device, you're also constantly monitoring the availability of a service. You know, so there's lots happening in the background that we're not even aware of as end consumers.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend here in Pretoria. His whole house, you know, everything he's doing on his phone. He can open the curtains. He can, you know, whatever, put on the lights on his phone. But now Internet of Things is, at the end of the day, everything is recorded. So your technology gets to know you. Is that where we're heading? So if you know, all of a sudden your technology knows you're going to take a bath at 7. So beforehand, it starts putting the water into
And
that.
these are the nice and exciting things about it, because all of a sudden the environment, our environment, can adapt to our behavior, to our requirements, to our needs, to ways of leading our lives, or ways of doing business, you know. Essentially, you know, we can now provide a carrot for people who comply, and we can apply corrective measures. We get a lot of data, and we can use that data to improve our behavior and improve our lives, improve our living standards, and all those things, and rectify where we make mistakes. You know, highlight those as well. It's now an objective environment of data that influences our environment, which is exciting.
Do you think it's still a rich man's world, Internet of Things? If you take South Africa, I mean, you need data, you need technology, you need to be able to buy that kind of technology, put it in your house, even a smartphone.
Look, we're in the early stages in South Africa. Globally, Internet of Things is growing at approximately 25% per annum, which is massive growth rate, And that's going to start happening in South Africa as well. Some of the underlying technology, the network infrastructure, still needs to be rolled out, still needs to be coming to South Africa. There's still some investments to be done on the device side because it's a global market. We're speaking of well over 25 billion devices in 7 to 10 years' time. So we're getting real economies of scale, and that'll drive down the costs and the prices very, very rapidly.
And what people don't know, I mean, the Internet of Things, that phrase was coined in 1999 already. It's not something that was like invented.
No, it's not birthed only now.
Yeah, like a year ago. Do you think like the smartphone changed everything?
Yeah, the smartphone certainly is an entry step, and we have a lot of applications that we use on our smartphone. Uber is one of the success stories in South Africa, but in future, it's going to become easier. You'll have a button at home. You no longer have to go on an app in your smartphone to call the Uber cab. You'll just have a button. The guys know where to come to, So the one works into the other, really.
When we look in terms of South Africa, do we have the infrastructure to support an internet structure such as these? Are there certain adoptions that we will have to make?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks very much. We have world-class, fantastic telecommunications infrastructure. Since the early 90s, we invested heavily in mobile and cellular infrastructure. Over the last few years and still ongoing, we're deploying fiber everywhere throughout the country, in all the suburbs, So from an infrastructure perspective, we're certainly ready, and we are increasing, we're improving all the time. As a country, we're an emerging economy. We are a large geographic country with lots of challenges that we have to overcome. We have logistic challenges. We have security challenges. We have fantastic laws and regulations, but we have an issue with compliance. And technologies such as Internet of Things can be great means to help assist with all these challenges and all these problems.
The thing, if we just look at internet banking and the way banks are attacked, and we know about that, being hacked out of a country recently, a well-known bank, is there maybe a security risk that people can then tap into your technology on a personal level and know everything about you?
Absolutely. It's a security risk is paramount, and it's always on top of mind for anybody who deploys services on the Internet of Things and who develops networks. So far, a lot of the network providers, for that very reason, have built separate IoT networks apart from conventional Internet, just to avoid the threat of attacks and mitigate those risks.
If we look now at businesses, and there's a lot of business people watching the show as well, what must you do to adapt your business for the Internet of Things, in a practical manner?
Look, you need essentially to think out of the box. You need to move yourself to more of a service-driven organization, and you need to say to yourself, how can I offer more for less? Because that's going to grow your market share, that's going to bring the differentiation. If you're a car manufacturer and you now want to offer 10 years guarantee instead of 3 years guarantee, using technology you can do that, because you can now monitor your customers, how they're driving, are they driving harshly, are they braking harshly, are they servicing the vehicles regularly. All of this technology can bring you all of that information. And the ones that comply and that behave well, they can get the 10-year warranty.
The other thing, where can people stay up to date with the developments? Is there like a website or follow your business, so you can know you're up to date with where this is going? Absolutely.
I think, look, most of us, we live in the information age, information society, so we can get hold of the information. Sometimes it becomes difficult. There's so much information, so many sources, we don't know where to get hold of it. I think it's more around, constantly questioning ourselves, questioning the way we do things, questioning the services we buy, questioning our suppliers. Is it effective? Is it efficient? What is irritating us? How can I change it? And then take it one element at a time and look at what other parts of the world are doing. We live in a global economy. We live in a global society. Let's learn from each other. The means are there. We've got to make an active effort to actually do that.
Yeah.
Daar's die beste raad. So maak seker jy is op hoogte. Thank you so much, Eckart Zollner, for your
It's a
time.
pleasure.
Ek dink ons kan nog baie gesels. We definitely need to talk more
Okay.
about this.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
very
much.